A 13-year-old Heuvelton boy is accused of making a terrorist threat at Lisbon Central last week. According to state police, the boy, whose name is withheld because of his age, made the threat to other students on Thursday. Troopers say those students reported it to school officials, who then notified authorities. The boy was charged with a felony count of making a terrorist threat and then released to appear in family court at a later date. Troopers would not say what the teen allegedly said.